Remember Verza? A creature many of us had a problem with months back. Notice how irrelevant it is now? That's creatures of Sonaria in a nutshell. This video has been a long time coming, I just never felt like doing it until today. This creature is a perfect example for any concept art that adds too much can be unappealing. Unlike the previous video I made about the corridas, I have a lot of things to dump on about Verza. Let's start with its description, then move to its design and animations. However, before we start, I'd like to tell everyone watching the video that I do not encourage any of you to attack anyone that made the Verza species. You can voice your opinions and say openly what you think of it in my comments, just don't go harassing the makers of the species. Now that's out of the way, I'd like to freely voice my hatred on the creature. Starting with the description. Verzas are quiet creatures. Or so it seems. In reality they might seem unfriendly but love to share their creations, and open up after a bit of prying. They emit elegance in everything they do, from movement to eating, drinking, except when they feel unsafe/angered they're extremely terrifying. Personally, I think the description is extremely plain boring. I don't know who are writing these descriptions, but they need to really amp up their game. The writer tried making the creature seem mysterious, then proceeded to write about how talkative and nosy Verzas are. Don't get me started on the elegance part. Its animations were anything but elegant. The only part I'd agree with the description is the last part. Verza's attack animation does look extremely terrifying, if you were a piece of paper. Look at me guys, I can elegantly tear paper. Yippee. Let's take a look at the creature's behaviors. The first point sounds cute, until I thought about them ironically being those obnoxious TikTok pranksters. The third point is a bit odd and confusing to me. I don't understand how and why these creatures look like they'd ever live in those sorts of environments. I refuse to believe they thrive in the vacuum of space or the harsh deserts. They seem more like creatures that'd live in enchanted forests with cherry trees, so they wouldn't stick out like a sore thumb, but that's the creator's choice. Now to its appearance and design. What the hell is cloud-like material? Clouds are just packed water vapors, and this thing is stiffer than a metal beam. The hair looks like a bad wig they got off Dollar Tree or a kid's detective kit. What are those legs? Seriously, I feel like basic understanding of legs should be a free class in Sonaria for future concept making. The front legs look like they've been lifting since birth, and the hind legs look like they missed a few too many leg days. Why does it have a halo? What purpose does it serve other than something to add into this mix-mash? The halo doesn't even look cool, and in the animations it feels so out of place. It's awkward to look at. I don't want to even ask why these trail thing appendages are there. I understand this doesn't need to make sense since it's a fantasy Roblox game, or whatever, but at least have some grounded sense to not completely make it seem like it's just a randomly thrown species to desperately capture new players' attentions. Now let's talk about the elephants in the room. It's Stranger Things creature's face and the floating hoopa from Pokemon Arms. Actually, I'm starting to feel like this creature is just a mix of hoopa and Thunderous, don't you think? It's an odd character design, adding more than needed. This should be enough points for you not to buy it. I said a lot, any more than I might as well take it to the circus and cage it. I will say, its stats are quite balanced from my understanding. Good abilities too. It is terribly slow in the sky, really makes you wonder why it even bothers in the first place. I've been your host, Frown, and I strongly suggest not bothering the moderators for this creature. Because it's not worth it, just don't buy it.